Hi everybody. Today we are going to do a Bible study from 2 Kings 6 verses 8 to 23. So it's 2 Kings, all the way up here. 2 Kings chapter 6 verses 8. We start there up to 23. It's about Elisha traps blinded Arameans. So let's get started. We are in verse 8. Now the king of Aram was at war with Israel. After conferring with his officers, he said, I will set up my camp in such and such a place. So what happens here? So Aram, the king of Aram, is coming against Israel. And so they're at war, and they planify where to put a camp, how to set up, how to come and have in the war with Israel. His soldiers and where they go and what they say and how they, they make a plan ahead of time. Now, the man of God, we are in verse 9. The man of God, who is the man of God? It's Elisha. So Elisha is the servant of Elijah that got a mantle of Elijah, and he's a prophet. Miracle signs and wonders are done through his where he was living in Israel. So he hears in the spirit what the enemies are planifying against Israel. So he's the man of God. It doesn't say Elisha here, but there where he is. The man of God sent word to the king of Israel. Be aware of passing that place because the Arameans are going down there. So the king of Israel checked on the place indicated by the man of God. Time and again, Elisha warned the king so that he was on his guard in such places. So they will not go by that place to be, where the Arameans will have a camp there. So they will avoid those places. So that was good for Israel. Verse 11. This enraged the king of Aram. He summoned his officers and demanded of them, tell me, which of us is on the side of king of Israel? Verse 12, None of us, my lord the king, said one of his officers. But Elisha, they say, the prophet who is in Israel, tells the king of Israel the very words you speak in your bedroom. Well, when they make the plans, it wasn't in his bedroom, but everything that he said aloud and Elisha picked it up in the spirit, he could hear it from far away. It's by the knowledge of God. He had the revelation. He had like it could be like a prophet with a seer. He could hear it. Maybe sense it. He has more of the senses open. Well, he was a prophet. Verse 13. Go find out where he is, the king ordered, so I can send men and capture him. The report came back, he is in Dothan. So where is Dothan located? Okay, so Dothan is a city in Israel, and it's actually Dothan stands in Hebrew is called two wells, and where Jacob's sons pasture the flocks, and also Joseph was sold by his brothers. So Dothan was I would say well-known place. But when you think like they pasture the flocks, is outside the city where they have the land, beautiful lands. So it's not nowhere like inside. Okay, so it's pretty much like outside the city, towards the outside. Verse 14, then he sent horses and chariots and a strong force there. So the king of Aram sent his forces as soon as he found out that the prophet is living in Dothan. They went by night and surrounded the city of Dothan. All right, so they are like over the night. So they are waiting there for the king to give next orders, what they will do next. Verse 15, when the servant of the man of God got up and went out early the next morning, an army with horses and chariots had surrounded the city. So he's talking about the servant. So the servant of Elisha got up early, and usually they go, because they are servants, they have to prepare things, do things much earlier than their masters, okay? And when he saw the army with horses and chariots that was all over, he said, "Oh no, my lord, what shall we do?" The servant asked. And so he's scared and he's terrified, I would say, when he sees those, from the other king, the enemy, they actually surrounded the whole city. In verse 15, he said, "Don't be afraid," the prophet answered. "Those who are with us are more than those who are with them." Wow. When sometimes we pass through situations in our lives, we have to come back to that very passage right here in verse 15, because we don't see what is surrounding us. We just see what with the eyes of our physical eyes, but we don't see in the spirit. And I've been in situations and I was like, God, open my eyes that I can see beyond this. I can see with my spiritual eyes what is going on. Because we see the enemy that was in front of them, but didn't see on the God's camp what was. So I like that verse. As I say, always reminds me of how God won for me everything that I've been through with sending his angels. Verse 17, and Elisha prayed, "Open his eyes," like his eyes of his servant. "Open his eyes, Lord, so that he may see." Then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked and saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. Wow. Not just any chariots, but of fire. And those are coming right from the throne of God. When you see chariots of fire, they're coming from the throne of God. And it says those are horses. So in the spirit round, Elisha was seeing these, and not just that, those are much, ferocious. They are like big, large. They see fire coming. Then he wasn't scared at all. It's like those are much more than the enemies sent to him. God sent like a double or triple army of full of horses and chariots of fire. And of course, they were guided by angels. And the angels sometimes can be like, some angels can go as 8 feet, 10 feet tall. So imagine when you see those big angels all around, but I say the other ones, they're like little ants beside the angels. Verse 18, as the enemy came down towards him, Elisha prayed to the Lord. Now listen what he prayed. So he sees the chariots of fire with horses and all that, but instead he prays, struck this army with blindness. So he, which is God, struck them with blindness as Elisha had asked immediately. As I said, not necessarily blindness, like they wouldn't see. It was more confusion, like blind. They didn't know where they were and what was going on. They didn't know what they got there for. They got so confused and so, distracted and didn't know what was going on and where they were. And so when then you see they're looking around, they have no idea what they were doing there. Elisha got into place. Verse 19, and Elisha told them, so he got outside and told them, like, this is not the road and this is not the city. Because they were asking for Elisha and the prophet Elisha. When he got out, they didn't even know who he was. They couldn't. This is like struck them with blindness, but as it was confusion more than anything else. This is not the road and this is not the city. Follow me and I will lead you to the man you are looking for. So what he did, he led them to Samaria. All right, and where's Samaria? So Samaria actually is in the middle of Israel. That was located. And Samaria with Jews that would not get along that time. They built a pagan, Samarian, they built a pagan temple. Didn't welcome Jews there. And Jews considered them to be unclean because they have different beliefs and practices. So Samaritan would not welcome Jewish at all. I'm not sure people in general, so they were not friendly. And so they lead this man, this army of Aram's king of Aram, into Samaria, where nobody want to go there. They rather go through the water or some other ways, not to go through Samaria. It's how bad it was. So now, verse 20, after they entered the city, Elisha said, Lord, open the eyes of these men so they can see. Then the Lord opened their eyes and they looked, and there they were inside Samaria. Wow. It was like scared just to be there in the middle of people. This is like they're unclean people, But so then the Lord opened their eyes and they saw so who they were, like, oh, we are in the middle of Israel now, what we're going to do. And not just that, verse 21, when the king of Israel saw them, he asked Elisha. So they got in the middle of Israel where it was exposed to everything else. So it was not at the side of the Israel at the city, Dothan no more. They were in the middle of Israel, where everybody could see them. When the army of Israel got surrounding them, when the king of Israel, when verse 21, saw them, he asked Elisha, "Shall I kill them, my father? Shall I kill them?" He didn't know what to do. So pretty much he captured them and didn't know what to do. So the king was ready to kill them because first they came on their territory, they were in the war, and then they're coming to capture the prophet. And look what Elisha said. And I like this because God doesn't want us, these are actually soldiers, more like messenger. I know they came to kill, but I will say that they're doing just their job. In 22, it says, "Do not kill them," he answered. "Would you kill those who have captured with your own sword or bow? Set food and water before them so that they may eat and drink and then go back to their master." That was nice on Elisha. He could say, yes, kill them. They came to take my life. They deserve to be killed. But instead, why should you get, people killed when you can actually set them free? Like, he understood that, set the captor free, instead of, kill them. So, 23. So he prepared a great feast, not just a meal, like we give them a little sandwich, nothing like that. He prepared a great feast, like celebrating, He prepared a great feast for them, and after they had finished eating and drinking, he sent them away. It's like, okay. And they returned to their master. And not just that, they changed their opinion about Israel, because think about, they came actually to kill the prophet, and they were in the war with Israel, but it says like, hey, these people actually not bad at all. They fed us, make a big feast. They kind of more like we celebrate them with them. They are not bad at all. Why we are just coming against them? Okay. So they changed their mind. We are still in verse 23, the end of it. So the bands from Aram stopped raiding Israel's territory. Wow. Did you see that? Did you hear that? So the king of Aram, he will not come against Israel anymore. Because I said they changed their mind. Why? You said, these are not people to come against. These are nice people. Why we are going against them anyway? So they changed their mind. Wow. That's like, this came from the king. So, wow. So what we take with us today about this teaching. So first it's like we have, they're prophets. We are like seers. They're the one that hears. They sense things in the spirit. So we learn about that. There's more than just a prophet. He could hear. He used more sense there. He used his senses in the spirit to help Israel with the war against the king of Aram. And then whenever he asked, God gave it to him to blind the soldiers. So whenever we ask in faith, God was going to give it to us. All right. And I like this passage in 15. It's still popping my mind. It says, don't be afraid. Those who are with us. So always think about when you are in fight with the enemy. In any ways, think about like how much army God has for you behind the scenes that probably you don't even see them. So when you're fighting something, think about that God, and you can ask God, send me your army here, because I know they are more with me than they are with the enemy. So you can say that prayer, and you can say also the prayer to send, like I said, they are like to the enemy, like strike them with confusion. That will not come after me. So we'll get him confused. Enemy gets confused and doesn't know who, and you can escape from the snare of the enemy's hands like that. Wow. So I say my last. This says, God, bring your army of chariots of fire, horses and chariots of fire to us, and let us see how many are with us. They're more with us than the enemy. And we thank you, Father, for that. All right, so that concludes the lesson for today, the Bible study. And until next time, I say goodbye. Goodbye now.